All right, guys. So, this story right here, about charges being dropped for hundreds of alleged looters in New York City, comes after I talked about this previously when it came to Portland, Oregon, and the rioters there. Their charges were being dropped as well, right? As the police riot squad basically quit, okay? Because they were trying to hold officers accountable for their action. Allegedly. While at the same time, not trying to hold the rioters and looters accountable, right? The people that caused the police to have to be in that situation and be out there in the first place. Those people don't get held accountable. But a police officer who, he says that it was a mistake, right? He was, trying to put the person back on he was trying to push the person back on the ground. He actually accidentally hit the girl in the head. He gets charged and you got to hold him accountable. But those people who were destroying, looting, damaging businesses, destroying people's livelihoods, nah, they don't have to be held accountable. It's really something. The liberal media, all they want to talk about is accountability, right? They want accountability for police officers. They want accountability for the Capitol rioters, right? They want accountability for the Republican Party. They want accountability for everybody except those people who looted and rioted all last year. No accountability for those people. Those people, they get bailed out. Okay, they get their charges dropped. The prosecutors, they fail to charge them with crimes, right? No accountability for those people. But, accountability for everybody else, people that they politically disagree with. This is a slap in the face to normal everyday Americans. It's a slap in the face to the small business owner. It's a slap in the face to police officers. It's a slap in the face that those whose lives were negatively affected by these riots and protests. And it shows that in America, if you're progressive, if you cry in the name of social justice, you can just get away with anything, right? Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what you say. And it's really a damn shame. So let's read a little bit more here about what's going on in New York City in regards to how they're failing to implement justice, okay? People that claim to care about justice so much. In May and early June 2020, looters smashed storefronts in the Bronx and Manhattan boroughs of New York City. Many were caught on tape, some with their faces visible. Others even posted their own videos of their actions those nights on social media. Hundreds were arrested. But a review of NYPD data by the investigative team at WNBC, the NBC-owned station in New York, shows that a large percentage of the cases, particularly in the Bronx, were dismissed, and that many convictions were for counts like trespassing that carried no jail time. Quote, "I was shocked that everything is being brushed off to the side," said Jessica Bentoncourt, who owns an eyeglass shop that was looted and destroyed along Burnside Avenue in the Bronx last June. According to the data, 118 arrests were made in the Bronx during the worst of the looting in early June. Since then, the NYPD says the Bronx District Attorney and the courts have dismissed most of those cases, 73 in all. 18 cases remain open, and there have been 19 convictions for mostly lesser counts like trespassing, counts which carry no jail time. Bentoncourt, who is also vice president of the local merchants association, called the numbers disgusting. She said local business leaders are upset. Few are being held accountable for the destruction they caused. In Manhattan, much of the looting occurred in the upscale neighborhoods of Soho. Amid the COVID pandemic, mobs and organized criminals were taking advantage of huge protests in the city after the Minneapolis police killing of George Floyd. The NYPD data shows that there were 485 arrests in Manhattan. Of those cases, 222 were dropped and 73 resulted in convictions for lesser counts like trespassing, which carries no jail time. Another 40 cases involved juveniles who were sent to family court. 128 cases remain open. Law enforcement experts and former NYPD Chief of Patrol Wilbur Chapman voiced anger at prosecutors for dropping so many looting and burglary cases. Quote, "If they are so overworked that they can't handle the mission that they were hired for, maybe they should find another line of work," Chapman said. Amen. Sources in the DA's office in Manhattan and the Bronx said that evidence in some cases was simply not enough of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and with courts closed amid the COVID pandemic, there was a huge backlog of cases that was unwieldy. for both the courts and prosecutors. So what that mean? You just gonna let them get away with it? You just gonna let them get away with it? I mean, guys. I mean, listen. Look. We have the vaccines. A majority of the country has opened back up. Like, there's no excuses anymore. There's no excuses. So what about those business owners who's had their stores destroyed, who had their livelihood destroyed? You don't care about those people. You know, one of the reasons why I really don't like the Internal Revenue Service, the institution of how the U.S. government can rob people of their taxes, because when the U.S. government does wrong, right? Because when the government does wrong, you still have to pay taxes, right? Even if you're being wrong, you still have to give money to the government for them to then turn around and slap you in the face. Slap you in the face. Because that's what this is. It's a slap in the face, man. And I wish that you could just refuse to just pay taxes. Just refuse. No, we're not paying taxes for this. Why would I want to pay taxes? I'm a small business owner. I took the risk of starting a business. I put my own money on the line to start a business, to provide jobs in the community. And then you turn around and you allow people to destroy that with no consequences for those people, while also at the same time being forced to shut down and being screwed over by the government when it came to relief funds. Because most of the companies that got the relief funds were not the small businesses that needed it. It was big corporate America. They got a bailout. Small business owners got screwed over like they always do. And guys, this is a subject I'm super passionate about. Because the small business owner gets so screwed over in America. The little guy continues to get ran over time and time again. And nobody does anything about it. Nobody cares, but these politicians want to go out here and talk about how small business is the backbone of America. No, it's not. It used to be. But these politicians, these are the same people that have allowed corporate America to screw over small business. While at the same time, corporate America goes out here, Black Lives Matter, right? If you loot a Nike store, they can easily pay for it. They can easily replace all the stuff. Not really a big deal, even though I don't support it. I don't think it's right. Right? It's not right. I don't support it. But, if it's a little mom and pop shop, a hair salon, a little gift shop, that stuff, you can't easily fix that stuff. Right? There's no guarantee those people have, insurance or whatever that they need to be covered. Again, they're being forced to close during a pandemic. They're already not making any money. And then you allow this. The criminals that loot the stores, we can't prosecute them. We don't have enough resources, so just let them go. It's ridiculous, man. It really is. Let's read a little bit more here. The NYPD did set up a task force after the riots to examine videos and photos to separate suspected rioters from peaceful protesters. That work shares similarities with what the FBI is doing in making hundreds of arrests after the riot at the U.S. Capitol. But unlike federal prosecutors who are moving forward with prosecution of the Capitol Hill rioters, New York City prosecutors are disposing of most burglary-related cases. The NYPD says there will follow-up investigations led in part by the Deputy Inspector Andrew Ayers, where evidence included photos and recovered stolen property. Quote, we had to analyze each individual case and see, in fact, if we could prove the right person had committed the crime, Ayers said. Former Chief Chapman says while the NYPD did some follow-up, the data shows the district attorneys and courts have not. It allowed people who committed crimes to go scot-free, Chapman said. Bronx DA Daryl Clark declined repeated requests for an interview, as did Manhattan DA Cy Vance. In an internal memo, Vance says there are over 600 commercial burglary arrests in addition to over 3,500 unindicted felony cases in the pipeline waiting to move forward in the courts. His memo says all those cases were on hold because of the pandemic. Before dropping the case, Vance told his prosecutors to review defendant criminal histories, whether police could really place the suspect at the scene, and whether the individual caused any damage to the store. Vance told his office for many of these commercial burglaries, you will be asked to reduce the initial charge to a misdemeanor and dispose of the case with an eye towards rehabilitation. He also stressed the continued goal of consistency and equitable treatment in these cases. A spokesperson for the New York State court system says decisions to dismiss cases were primarily made by the district attorneys, and application made by the district attorney, or as they have done with hundreds of court appearance orders, declined to prosecute them, said Lucien Chaffin. In the Bronx, some businesses that had insurance are back, but the scars from the riot of a year ago remain. They could do it again because they know they won't get the right punishment, bench in court said. Yep, you're 100% right about that. And that's all this leads to. Crime pays, man. If you're on the left, okay, or you're so-called progressive, or if you're fighting in the name of social justice, then crime pays. You can do anything you want. You can loot, you can riot, you can do all that stuff. You can vandalize, you can steal. It doesn't matter. You can get away with it, right? And the criminal justice system won't prosecute these people. But yet at the same time, you have these same people saying, we need accountability for police officers. We need to get rid of qualified immunity. We need to, go after the Capitol rioters. We need to deal with so-called white supremacy. The Republican Party needs to be held accountable. You're asking for accountability, but you won't hold your own accountable. And again, this is what happens when you have progressive prosecutors, guys. These people are being put in to power all across the country. And I say put in because there are billionaires and a lot of money going behind these progressive prosecutors being put into their places, right? Getting these jobs, right? That are helping fund their election campaigns. This is what is happening in our country. And this is what progressive or overly progressive criminal justice leads to. Criminals, people that are committing these crimes, getting off, right? Crime pays. And this is why, people want to get mad at Republicans for not wanting to have a January 6th commission. I don't blame them. But I don't blame the Republicans for not doing it. Because the left has no interest in holding themselves accountable. They have no interest in getting justice for the small business owners whom had their businesses destroyed. They have no interest in that. Again, guys, the worst part about it was during the pandemic when they were closed. And the so-called PPP loans, which is basically a fraud program, most of the businesses that got that were big business, big corporate America. A lot of small business owners didn't get the relief that they needed. Like I said, man, this is a slap in the face to small businesses. It really is. And I'm tired of it. I'm sick and tired of, the small entrepreneur being screwed over by corporate America and screwed over by these politicians and by these progressives. And yet they go out here and they claim that, they're for the small guy. They're for the worker, right? That's what they claim. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.